on a Thursday or a Friday when we can enjoy them a little. I really don't like Monday.
They really just want to be the only show in town. Isn't that it? I mean, again, I think this is just how the All-Star break works. This is how it always shakes out.
Yeah.
And then they get back to action at the end of the week. It's All-Star week. So guys who are not representing their teams get away, have a little break in the middle of the season. And then, it's like you're trying to fight City Hall here. Like, this is just how they do it. They're not going to take away a weekend series.
I know, but it's losing juice to me.
The home run derby is losing juice?
Losing juice like the slam dunk contest. Remember when the slam dunk contest first came out? Everyone watched it. Everyone loved it. And then all your stars stopped doing it, and it kind of went away, and it's kind of making its way back. That's where I'm at with the home run derby. I mean, some of them have been great, but you go back to McGuire, Sosa, all right, that was good. Even though they were all juiced up out of their mind.
Is that all this is? You just want them all juiced up again, and then you'd enjoy the home run derby? It was great.
Last night was great?
It was, again, I like the bracket style. I like that they've worked in some of these other details. They give them a little more time. You hit a certain number. I like the way they've tried to reinvent it. Obviously, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. won last night, taking down Randy Arozarena, which, by the way, who doesn't love saying Randy Arozarena? Arozarena is just fun to roll off the tongue.
Yes.
I always will think of Jeff Passan singing the Macarena song to Rosarena. Hey, Rosarena. That will never get old. So the father-son thing, right, wasn't the big thing that Vlad Guerrero Jr. became. His dad won it, obviously, back in the day, so they're the first father-son duo to win the home run derby. But I got to be honest, guys. That was cool and all, right? It's cool that he won the whole thing. It's cool that Randy Arozarena had a chance to win it. I think he needed 4 in 30 seconds in the final round, and you're thinking, well, that should be easy to do. And he just went warning track, warning track, warning track, warning track. Couldn't push him out. But Adley Rutschman was my MVP. Adley Rutschman, who I got to be honest, didn't know him. I'm not a fantasy baseball gal. I don't play fantasy baseball. I think sometimes that's how you only know players who you wouldn't see roll through your ballpark very often. He is a catcher for the Orioles. In the middle of his round, Chew, dude is taken, I think he's hitting left-handed, hit 20 home runs left-handed. And then after a break, you get a little time out, you swig a Gatorade, towel off, get back in the box. He goes to the other side of the plate. He goes to the right side of the plate, and he hits 7 more home runs. What a flex!
That's impressive.
There should have been some award for that. He should have gotten something for the effort.
Can you do that in the middle of an at-bat?
In baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't guys do that?
I don't think a lot of guys, this is why I thought it was so cool, I don't think a lot of guys can hit as well from the other side. You start playing baseball as a kid, and you're either a lefty or a righty. And very few guys are amphibious. We had to be, because when we played,
missed it. I love that. Yeah. When we played wiffle ball, we always had to bat opposite-handed.
Why?
I don't know, because we're idiots. And it taught you how to switch hit. And
trying to level the playing field? Is that what you were trying to do?
I think the fence was too short.
Yep. So if you had hit with your,
to hit
got it.
opposite way, which I think I tried it in high school and struck out.
So then you were like, nope.
So baseball's not like wiffle ball. But that's pretty cool. I'm surprised more guys have not done that in the middle. Let's say you're down 0-2. You're not touching the ball. I would flip to the other side if I was like this dude where I was that good.
But he was hitting it. That's what's crazy is 20 home runs from the left side. And then just for funsies, right? And again, we're talking about him this morning, the day after. He didn't even win the dang thing. And I was like, whoo! Now, I think baseball is so hard, right? I never want to take away what these professional athletes are able to accomplish, able to do. It's hard enough to be a 300 hitter from one side of the plate, let alone be able to drive the ball out of there from the other side.
Yeah.
So it's, again, hilariously, Vlad Guerrero Jr. won the home run derby contest yesterday. Got some fancy Seattle bling. But I was more impressed with what the kid from the Orioles was able to do. I just thought it was a baller move.
Yeah.
Right? It was a super flex. Now, here's what I will tell you. And I get made fun of for this every year. Every year I say this, and every year people are like, that's the dumbest thing you've ever said, and that's saying something. I think that the Home Run Derby trophy is the best trophy in sports.
I think it'd be in the mix.
Yeah?
Let me tell you what, I don't think anything tops our Lombardi trophy from, I think, Super Bowl II, where there's a big dent in it.
Wait.
There's a big dent. You know where I found this out, too? We won our Super Bowl in '96, and Steve Sable, you remember Steve Sable?
Of course,
from
NFL
Films comes in, and they have like an executive, I don't even know what it was. It was at, there's a big art theater up there. I forget the name of it. So it was packed. It was me, Reggie, a handful of the guys, and we're talking to Steve Sable, and he's like, look at Super Bowl II, because they had all three of them there. And we're like, wow, there's a dent in it. And we're like, how in the hell did that happen? Well, I guess Mrs. Lombardi back in the day was coming off the plane, had a few too many pops on the plane, and dropped it.
And they never fixed it? And they never fixed it?
Why would you fix it? It's a great story.
It is a great story, unless you're Mrs. Lombardi and you don't want everybody to think of you as a lush.
Do people
till
know
the
that
end
story?
of time.
You've never heard that story.
I never heard that story.
Can you put that on the poll, Max?
Did you know
that there is a dent in the second Super Bowl trophy?
When they were tossing the trophy back and forth in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Didn't they dent the trophy or something?
Well, did they drop it in the water, or they were?
No, I don't think they dropped it, but I remember that on Sunday NFL Countdown they showed what would have happened had they dropped it, and apparently it floats. There's enough air inside the base, or inside the football, I'm not sure which, that if you did throw it in the bay, it was a river. What was it? An intercoastal down there? What was
it's
that?
like a little bay.
That it would have floated. So that helps.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I thought that there was another trophy that had a big dent in it. Maybe it is the Lombardi. Because everybody always comes at me and says that that the Stanley Cup is the best one.
Stanley Cup is cool. I think it's because people eat cereal out of it. They drink champagne out of it. Because I believe, doesn't every player on the team, the year they win it, get it for a week? Or something like that.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's cool. It's a little too big, right?
It's huge.
It's huge.
Are they running out of space? Don't they carve it and put like a team on it, or they put something on it? I got pictures with the Stanley Cup back when the Blackhawks were making their run and were kind of in contention every year. I'd have to take a closer look at the picture. We are getting reaction, and that's why I got distracted a moment ago on the talk and text line. People are saying that you cannot switch. Jeremy from Milwaukee saying, once you start an at-bat from one side, you must finish that at-bat from that same side. Ambidextrous pitcher Pat Venditti, I don't know Pat Venditti, is the reason baseball put that rule in. Nick in Milwaukee also saying you cannot change sides in the middle of an at-bat. I thought I Googled it, and it said that you could. In MLB, now this is old, maybe this is too old. In the MLB, is a switch hitter allowed to switch during an at-bat? Yes, the batter may switch sides during an at-bat, subject to the rule that he cannot leave the batter's box once the pitcher is ready to deliver the ball. We got to get to the bottom of this. We got Max in this morning, filling in for Ashley. Max, can you try to get to the bottom of this switch hitter thing? Can you switch sides in the middle of an at-bat? We're all going to learn something this morning here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, which would be kind of a big surprise. So Stanley Cup, what else, Chew?
Heisman's cool.
Heisman's cool.
Super cool.
See, every time we start doing this list, I start questioning my position. It's just that every time I see the trophy for the Home Run Derby, I'm like, God, that is sleek.
It is a cool trophy. The problem with the Heisman, it's too heavy.
Very heavy.
Yeah, it's way too heavy.
You can't just tote that around with you. You know what I mean? Did you find out, Max? You got the answer?
You absolutely can switch. It just says that the batter can switch until the pitcher comes set to pitch.
And you're sure about that? Where are you seeing this? You're seeing this like MLB.com?
MLB.com.
He's saying that you can switch.
I'm surprised more guys don't do it.
I'm telling you, it's too hard to be good at baseball.
Yeah.
To be like, well, I've already taken all my hacks on this side. I better switch over to the other side. Right? Once you're dominant and good on one side, you just want to get better on that same side, don't you?
Yeah. Another good trophy, the FIFA World Cup. I think that looks really cool. What are horrible ones? The baseball ones, they need to... World Series trophy, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a little gaudy to me, if I'm being honest. Like all of the flags. But I will tell you this. How about the Golden Glove? Gold Glove, not Golden Glove. What is this, the Golden
I don't
Snitch?
think I've ever seen it.
You've seen a gold glove. It's literally a big frickin' glove that they dip in gold. I don't think.
Yeah, that sounds cool. What are horrible ones?
So I think horrible ones are probably in the college football space because you got like,
The gold or the glass football. Do they still do that or no?
Well, that was BCS. No, now they do the trophy. You've seen the trophy. It's like
that's the worst one. I hate the new college football.
You do?
It's the old the football one that he was talking about before. That one was awesome.
The crystal ball.
The crystal ball was sweet. This one stinks.
I'm talking about like the trophies between like teams, right? When not Wisconsin and Minnesota, obviously, because they always play for Paul Bunyan's axe, but like. You got, the slab of bacon and things like that these old rivalries, these old, like, traditional matchups have. Some of those are real bad. Wasn't there, like, an old wooden jug or something like that? Or like
there is. Yeah, I forget, but like a bowl full of beans or something like that. Just absolutely terrible. All right, where do you stand on the Olympic medal?
It's fine.
Fine.
But it's not a trophy, right? It's not a trophy.
I would call that is it a ribbon? Is there a difference?
It's an award, but it's not a trophy.
It hasn't evolved.
Trophy is like, a trophy. It's got it's a statue. It's regal. Not saying that a gold medal isn't. I would love to have a gold medal. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's more of like, I'm trying to find the trophies for these stupid, I don't want to say stupid, but like, Air Force versus Colorado State is a Ram Falcon trophy. I don't know what that is. Akron Kent State is a wagon wheel. The Apple Cup. Everybody knows about the Apple Cup, right? Washington versus Washington State. Golden Boot, Arkansas versus LSU. I didn't even know that Arkansas and LSU had a trophy.
What is the trophy between Michigan and Ohio State?
Do they have a trophy? One? I don't know that there is a trophy. I don't think I've ever seen somebody go get a trophy in the game.
Paul Bunyan's axe might be the coolest one.
Because it's literally an axe.
It's literally an axe.
It doubles as a weapon.
Yes. No, it is pretty good.
I think if we're talking about the worst ones, it's probably the college, some of those older college football. That'd be my guess. Why, you got any other ones that are in like the major leagues that are, do you like the Larry O'Brien?
That's fine. That's fine. Isn't the Indy 500 the size of like a small car?
Oh, I don't know what the. Yeah. I can picture guys.
It's huge.
Do you consider a title belt a trophy? I do not.
No, that kind of falls in the category of Olympic medal. I guess Stanley Cup's up there high. Masters, when you win the Masters, it's a picture, a golden trophy of the clubhouse.
And
I thought that's
the
pretty
green
cool.
Jacket. You get the green jacket.
And the green jacket, yeah. But that's not a trophy.
Correct.
That's kind of like an add-on.
I would say that is not a trophy.
Yeah, I think your home run derby would.
You're saying top five. You're giving me what about the Wanamaker Trophy? Now that's one of those. It's got the big arms, the bendy arms.
Yeah.
It's got the it looks like you can take the top off of it and reveal a rabbit or something.
What is the Wanamaker?
What is it?
What's that from?
PGA Championship.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
Gabe would be so upset at us right now.
Gabe would be.
He doesn't get a say when he's off.
Yeah, that's what he gets. What about Wimbledon? Wimbledon's cool.
The plate.
I kind of like that.
No, but is that a trophy?
It's very Romanesque. That's a trophy.
Is it? It's a plate.
Can you eat off it?
I think you could. I also see people saying, what about the yellow jersey for the Tour de France? Tour de France, however you want to be. How bougie do you want to be this morning? Do you like that? That's not a trophy for sure.
No.
But it is a very distinctive, prestigious award.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I'm coming around to your little home run derby here. I think that might be one of the cooler ones.
Top five.
Might be higher than top five.
Top three.
Possibly. Let's look at America's Cup.
Let's put it on the poll this morning, on the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Twitter poll. Is the Home Run Derby trophy one of the top, what do you want to do, 5 or 3, Chew? You pick.
Go 3.
Top 3 trophies in all of sports. This feels like it's going to be hard to convince people, but I got a whole show to try and do it. Lots of reaction rolling in on our ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line about the best trophies in sports. We'll get to some of that reaction as the morning rolls on. We got to get to Jason Wilde, who had a really, I did not see this coming. I have not heard this before. I did not see this before. Revelation on State of the Packers Saturday from Summerfest. We will ask Jason Wilde about this comment he made during State of the Packers on Saturday right after this.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Looking at a pretty good ride for the most part. We do have one disabled vehicle on the Highway F off-ramp in Waukesha County. It's blocking the left lane of that off-ramp, so just be careful if you're exiting that area. It might suddenly come as a surprise to you. On westbound 94 itself, we're seeing a bit of a backup from 116th Street out past Elm Grove Road. We've also got northbound 43 slowing down from North Avenue pretty much all the way up to Keith. Traffic is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC. And checking the TMJ4 Storm King forecast today. Early clouds becoming sunny, a high of 77. Tonight, chance of showers, mostly cloudy with a low of 64. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Major League Baseball's All-Star Week in Seattle lives on ESPN Milwaukee. On Monday night, it's the Big Boppers with the big sticks in the home run derby.
This one might hit the scoreboard in right center.
And on Tuesday night, the National League looks to finally snap their losing streak to the AL and the All-Star game.
Back out to left center field, and that is gone. And
it's MLB All-Star Week, happening this week on Milwaukee's home for Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio, 94.5 ESPN.
Brookfield GMC has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems, all bundled under the James Managed Print Services Program. Brookfield GMC Controller Jay Doyle.
They can track where the printer supplies are, the toner supply is getting down or low, and then they'll ship us a new toner.
And there's more. James Imaging Systems Managed Print Services also includes parts and service.
Exactly, yes. We had a fuser go out in one of our printers, and they came out and replaced that right away. So repair and our supplies are maintained.
Managed Print Services from James Imaging Systems. All your document output devices, service, supplies, and parts wrapped up in one low monthly invoice. Now that's a good value.
It's a big value because of all the services.
Managed Print Services from James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700. James Imaging Systems, your local office technology partner.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, buy a 5-quart jug and get a free STP Extended Life Oil Filter. That's right, free. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need, when you need them, at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get up to 40% off select bathroom faucets and vanities. Plus, buy Southwire Romex Simple 12-gauge indoor wire at our everyday low price of $109. Head to your local Lowe's or visit us at Lowe's.com for more deals you can't beat. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Valid 7/6 through 7/12 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. U.S. only.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people with different political views and life experiences are coming together through the power of conversation, and it feels good. Hear more at lovehasnolabels.com/one-small-step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Homer, Tony, living in perfect harmony. Yeah, right.
No pressure on Jordan Love because Aaron Rodgers only won 6 games in his first year as a starter. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
No pressure.
None.
I think Love and a lot of people disagree. He's got a lot of pressure. I think Jordan Love probably feels more pressure than actually is on him.
Listen to Homer and Tony weekdays from 2 to 4 on 94.5 ESPN and wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Any of those things because it exceeds. It's like. I'm sorry, I'm burping up my apple right there. That's what that was. I wasn't pausing for effect. I literally was burping my apple.
Can we just go to break?
No.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Ready, down, put.
All Packers, all the time.
And I'm eager to see how he handles them when they're happening in games against other teams, as opposed to when they're happening against Darnell Savage or Tavarius Moore picking him off in a practice.
Okay, most of the time.
Almonds specifically or all nuts?
Well, these nuts, those nuts, whatever nuts work.
It's Jason Wilde on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Brought to you by Boucher Automotive. With 16 different new car brands and over 35 pre-owned brands to choose from. Boucher Automotive. We are driven by you. And by the Bridgewater Modern Grill. Nestled in the heart of Milwaukee's emerging Harbor District. Enjoy a specialty crafted menu centered around a custom oak-fed grill.
Great to check in with our friend and teammate, Jason Wilde. Good morning, Jason. How are you doing this week?
Good morning, everyone. I'm good. How are you?
We're good. We were discussing trophies. I say this every year, and every year people make fun of me on social media, but I think that the Home Run Derby trophy is one of the best trophies in sports. And, of course, people are like, are you crazy? The Stanley Cup is better. The Lombardi is better. The Larry O'Brien is better. But I just like it. It's sleek looking. It would look good on a mantle. Not that there are other trophies that wouldn't look good on a mantle. But where do you stand on the Home Run Derby trophy?
Not as good as the Mirror Ball trophy for Dancing with the Stars.
That one is cool.
It's so gaudy.
That is. That's pretty sweet. Jason, did you know there was a dent in the Super Bowl II Lombardi trophy?
I feel like I did. Did you put it there?
No.
It's a fair question, Jason.
That
it's
is
a fair
very fair.
question.
But Steve Sable, when we were doing a function up there, showed me the dent and told me that Mrs. Lombardi was a little shined up and dropped it. And there was a little ping. And there is a little dent, which I think is pretty cool.
So what about the Super Bowl 31 trophy? Like, what do you remember you guys doing with it? Or, like, what do you remember from that parade where you guys had the windows open on the bus when it was, like, -5 degrees and whatever else?
The Super Bowl trophy, I remember they barely let us touch it. Jerry Perrins and all his copper friends would surround you if you were touching it. That's why me and Jen, between a break, were talking about the year Tampa Bay won it, and they had it in whatever, the boat or whatever, and throw it from. That would never happen. When we were up there,
Right.
they guarded that thing so closely. Maybe because of Mrs. Lombardi, but
Possible.
I think I held it one time and got a picture with it, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't, like, the only thing that I really remember of the trophy was after the game of Reggie, like, taking a lap around the Superdome, carrying it and holding it. Beyond that, I don't have a real clear memory of anybody else. I think, does Favre, like, hold it over his head on the podium, maybe?
Yeah.
But I don't remember, like, seeing it, as opposed to Super Bowl 45, where, you know, I certainly remember everything on the dais and Rodgers having the belt over his shoulder and then holding the trophy. But I remember there's, like, an iconic picture. I can't remember if it was, I don't know who took it. And I always like to give photographers their credit that they deserve, because great pictures really augment our appreciation for great moments. But there's this great picture of Nick Collins with, like, the widest smile I've ever seen, carrying the Lombardi around Lambeau at the welcome back celebration after they won Super Bowl 45. And I just feel like that trophy, and now it sounds like I'm right, got passed around more than when you guys won it back in 96.
Jason,
But that's what a lot of people like about the Stanley Cup Chew, is that every guy gets a turn with it, right? You can bring it to your hometown. You can take pictures of it laying next to you in bed. Like, I kind of like that. I kind of wish they would adopt that practice in other sports.
I will say this. Once the final tick clicked off the clock, it was underwhelming to me. Extremely underwhelming. It was weird. You know, I was expecting so much more in champagne in the locker room and, party and let's celebrate.
Oh, interesting.
And there was nothing. Nothing.
Because
we went in the locker room, Holmgren gave his speech, and it was like, cool.
So you're talking about like the actual celebration.
Yes.
Because Aaron Rodgers is famous for after winning the Super Bowl, and I know Jason knows this, but I believe it was in that Mina Kimes article talking about how after the victory, Jason, it was underwhelming for him, right? He was like, oh, I thought this would feel different. I thought that winning the Super Bowl would be more fulfilling. And he was surprised by how he felt afterwards. Do I remember that correctly, Jason? Was it something like that?
You do. The line that I remember him saying to me was, he was sitting on the bus, and he said to himself, "Is this it?"
Yes.
This is it?
I had the exact same feeling, Jason. It was so underwhelming. I mean, the parade was nice and all that. After the 7th hour of it, we were like, all right, can we go home? And then everyone just disperses and like, what was better? The party that they had for us were you there, Jason? Because I think there was some media there. The party at Oneida?
I was not. I was not. No, I should have been, certainly, but I wasn't. I didn't get to touch the trophy either. Maybe it would have meant more if you wouldn't have lost to a 12.5-point underdog the next year. Maybe that celebration would have been better.
Good point. You know how they gave us our rings for that. Jason, did you ever hear?
I don't.
In the mini camp first practice the next year, we're all sitting upstairs in our conference room and like, oh, here, by the way, here's your...
No.
That's how we got them.
I mean, now, they do big parties.
For the loser?
Well, no.
No, this was the loser ring. But still, I mean, that's how we got our what are they? I don't even know what they call it. The runner-up ring, Jason?
And the champion ring.
Yes, that makes sense.
The party at Oneida was for the ring ceremony, though, for winning Super Bowl 31, right?
Yes.
Right too.
And there was great drama there because they did it alphabetically until they got to J for Jackie, who was no longer on the team, and they handed them out alphabetically, and no one was to open the box until everyone got their ring. And the fear was that if they did it alphabetically with Jackie, he would open his ring and show everyone and be the doucher that he was. Did you know that, Jason?
I did not. I mean, I knew that that was the opinion about him. I didn't know that they were concerned about him doing that with the ring. Isn't there also a story of like Andre Rison like throwing his in the river or something?
I had never heard that.
I feel I'll have to do some fact checking on that, but like, because he was so pissed that they didn't bring him back. Like he really wanted to come back in '97, obviously, and Ron was concerned about the influence he would be on a young up and coming Antonio Freeman. That he was like, no, we're not bringing him back. And I feel like he was so mad, whether he did it or not, I don't know. But there's a story, at least the legend is, that he threw his Super Bowl 31 ring in a river somewhere because it didn't mean anything to him. So I'll have to fact check that.
Jason, I appreciate these stories. In typical Jen, Gabe, and Chewy fashion, we have gotten off track. We heard something that you said on State of the Packers Saturday when you guys were at Summerfest breaking down the Green Bay Packers. And so I want to get I want some details on this, but before I hear from you, let's hear from you from Saturday.
My issue is that at some point, if we're putting all of this on the brilliance of Matt LaFleur to design an offense, which Aaron Rodgers called, any dummy could do this at quarterback, if that's the case, sooner or later, your dummy-style offense will be figured out by defensive coordinators. It will make it harder for the quarterback. It will make it harder for the wide receivers, and it will make it harder for the inexperienced tight ends to get open and be successful. So they had better have a steep learning curve that explodes upward, because by the end of the season, it'll also be harder for them to be productive.
First of all, it's a great point by you. I try to pay attention to all of the things, Jason, but I was not aware that at some point Aaron Rodgers had said any dummy can do this about the Matt LaFleur offense. Can you give me the background on that? Can you give me the details on that?
Yeah, he said it to me privately the first year that they ran the offense.
Wow.
And I think the reason why this is important, and Chewy, I think you'll back me up on this. I mean, first of all, let's look back and point out that the other two guys who are most prominent for running this version of this offense, Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, both tried to acquire a disgruntled Aaron Rodgers following the 2020 season, right? Remember, the Rams made a formal inquiry in January, and then we all know that the 49ers were tampering with Rodgers that offseason. And so, to me, that has always said, look, yeah, this is a really smart offense that makes life easier for the quarterback. But the two guys who've had the most success with it said to themselves, we got to get somebody special to run it, because that's really important too. It doesn't matter how good your offense is, because sometimes players have to make plays. And clearly they didn't think Jimmy Garoppolo or Jared Goff could do that. So, McVay goes out and gets Matthew Stafford after the Rodgers idea doesn't work, and Matthew Stafford wins him a Super Bowl. The 49ers obviously used all that draft capital to draft Trey Lance. Turns out it looks like they were wrong on him, and they think they were wrong on him. And they were hoping that he would be the answer. They have to go back to Jimmy Garoppolo. And when Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, yeah, it's a great story that Brock Purdy, and I'm not calling him an idiot or a dummy or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick of the draft, is able to be productive in that offense. And I think there's a lot of teams and coaches who looked at that and said, okay, well, this offense, because now it's proliferated, right? Atlanta runs it. Cincinnati runs it with Zach Taylor. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think there's probably this thought now of, well, holy cow, if Brock Purdy as a rookie 7th-round pick can be good in this offense, well, Sean Clifford could be, or, insert quarterback here. And my argument would be, if you think you're going to be able to do that with Jordan Love or with Sean Clifford or whoever else for an extended period, then I hope you also have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey on your roster. And, oh, by the way, one of the best defenses in the league. So I just think it's a really interesting juxtaposition to look at what this offense can do. Because, look, I have no doubt that Matt LaFleur is going to be able to make Jordan Love on, I don't know about the vast majority of his snaps, but many of his snaps, be good and productive and decent, or whatever adjective you want to use. But in crunch time moments and in really challenging moments when the defense dials up a challenging blitz or the coverage is really good, is he going to be able to make some of the plays that one of the all-time greats made within an offense that is designed to make things easier for the quarterback? And then, two, is there this feeling that if Brock Purdy can do it, anyone can do it? Because I really do believe, and we'll see what happens with the 49ers going forward, but the fact that they once upon a time wanted Rodgers and wanted someone really, truly special to be running this version of the offense, I'll be curious, A, if Purdy can come back from his injury and sustain his high level of play, and B, if teams that don't have one of the best multi-dimensional wide receivers, a really good number two, the best tight end in the league, arguably, one of the best running backs in the league, and one of the best defenses in the league, can a team that doesn't have all those things, because the Packers don't, be successful with a first-time starter because of this offense?
But it's foolish from Rodgers' standpoint, because it sounds like he wants an offense that's calculus, and there are players out that aren't as smart as him. So what is it? What is it where he has the most complicated offense in the world, and your tight end and your receiver and your fullback don't know what the hell they're doing? You know, Jason, back in the day, I can't tell you how many times Brett would call a play, and one of the running backs would go, I don't know what I have, and I'd go, all right, check number 3, and then release into the flat. That's just what happens in a huddle. You know, I can't do trigonometry while this guy only knows algebra.
Right, and that's why veterans have been so important, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why Rodgers loved Lazard. That's why he loved Cobb. That's why he loved Devontae Adams, obviously, who is a generational talent. And that's why last year, in my opinion, A, the broken thumb, and B, the young guys around him caused him to have the numbers that he had. And remember, as I've been a staunch critic of him for this is why he needed to figure out a way to, A, connect better with them, and B, go back to the dummy version of the offense, because that's what those guys needed. And so, this is why anybody who always says, well, he's washed, I push back on. There's plenty to criticize him for, and I certainly have for last year. But to me, the fact that there was not that level of that's a great analogy, by the way. Like, my recollection of high school was algebra freshman year, geometry sophomore year, advanced algebra junior year, and pre-calculus my senior year. And Rodgers is like college-level calculus, and Dobbs and Watson were like freshman algebra. And that's one of the many reasons why they end up 8 and 9, is because those guys, look, they did not play, neither one of them played half the snaps last year offensively. I keep pointing that out because they're the most experienced guys on this year's roster at wide receiver, and they didn't even play half the snaps last year. On the flip side, they only played half the snaps, but that's still a fair number. And they could have been more productive if maybe there was a simplicity to it that would have helped them be more productive.
It's just silly to me, Jason, because veterans is such a luxury, and Rodgers should be able to recognize that, right? Would you love to have a bunch of veterans out there who know exactly what you want to run and know all of the plays, like Chewy was saying? Sure, who wouldn't? But it's a violent game. Guys' shelf lives are short, and so there's always going to be a new influx of young talent coming in. So it's a little surprising to me that he couldn't see the forest for the trees and recognize, like, hey, I got to be the guy here bringing people along. And maybe that offense that he referred to as any dummy can do this was so that the younger players who were there could get up to speed quicker.
Yeah, I would just say this, that I think there is, again, he is not someone who admits through words that he was wrong. But I saw a picture that the Jets tweeted out yesterday, was it? Tausch sent it to me, of him on the beach with one of his wide receivers. Like, I don't know if they're playing catch or filming a beer commercial. I don't know what they were doing. But it looked like they were working out together in California. And yet another example of him doing something with his new team that he didn't do with last year's team. And I would argue that I'm guessing, whether he admits it publicly or not, he's going to be looking at those young wide receivers, the offensive rookie of the year from last year, and Garrett Wilson, et cetera, the guys that he didn't bring with him, like Cobb and Lazard. I'm guessing he's going to take a different approach with them with the offense this year than he did with the young guys last year in Green Bay, because while he won't say it out loud, he knows that was a mistake by him.
I do love that. It's one of my favorite segments that you ever did, Jason, when you were talking about the ways that people admit their previous errors, and then you all of a sudden got a coughing attack. It was so strange. But I believe the cough sounded like your wife's name. I don't remember exactly, but it was one of those unique coughs that sounded like Paula.
Yeah, that may have happened. Yeah.
Jason, we have gone way too long with you, but it was really good stuff. We appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. Have a great one. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, everybody. Take care. Be good.
He's Jason Wilde. You can, of course, hear him on Wilde and Tausch right after Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here on ESPN Milwaukee. And if you are interested in more content about that coaching tree, that Sean McVay and Shanahan and LaFleur and Mike McDaniel, who is in Florida with the Dolphins, The Athletic has a great podcast out right now called The Play Callers that tries to do a deep dive into how those guys kind of came to power, how their offenses are structured and all of that stuff. So if you're a football junkie, a football nerd, it is something I highly recommend. We are way behind. We got to take a break. We'll be right back after this.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
We've got some delays still on northbound 43 from Fond du Lac Avenue up past Keefe. The southbound side now starting to slow down a bit south of Hampton Avenue all the way down past Keefe. Once you make it to Locust, you're good to go into the Marquette. Northbound on